is something that you have a preternatural ability to. But then I've also recently heard Tom Hanks say that on the set of some movies, you'll show up one day and you'll sort of know what you want to do, but you won't have it really mapped out. And you'll say, I kind of have to figure out how I'm going to do this. I thought that was really fascinating that he said that. So can you just kind of talk us through how you do what you do, from storyboard to showing up on the day to knowing where you want the camera to be?
Well, it depends on the film. If it's a film that is, it has a lot of VFX, everything's storyboard, it has to be. Because I'm dealing with a very large budget on a special effects film, so everything has to be planned ahead of time. But there are other films that I've made where I didn't do any planning at all. I never had a single storyboard on Schindler's List. I didn't have a single storyboard in Saving Private Ryan, which we shot mostly in continuity. And those are the most fun for me because I surprise myself. I wake up in the morning and I know the page count that I need to cover, but I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to cover it yet. And that's what's it's exciting, getting on a set with no real plan except to tell the story the best way I can possibly tell it. And I love doing that in collaboration with crew, but also especially with actors. Because the thing that I love about actors, if you cast your film right, you're not just getting someone who is going to give you a great performance, you're getting someone who has a deep, meaningful understanding of the film that all of us are making together in this collaborative art form, which is movies and television. And so that way I can be more collaborative with Tom Cruise. You know, Tom Cruise showed up every morning when I show up before the crew. So I'll get to the set time sometimes at 6:30 in the morning. On my Minority Report and on War of the Worlds, Tom would insist on getting there when I got there so we could map out the whole day, which was really helpful to me. So there are films like that with Hanks and I where I'm really collaborative with the person who is carrying the film. And there are other films where it's just kind of myself going into a bit of a, I guess, a little bit of a meditation to really figure out. And what's good about going into meditation, I also meditate, but that's a different kind of meditation. When I get to the set in the morning, there is something that happens which is beautiful. It's an entire day of possibilities, as yet undiscovered, but what possibility will I choose first? And that's the most exciting thing about this. I get a little bit bored when I do a heavy VFX film, when I know what the day is going to be like. It's already mapped out. Everybody knows what we're doing. It's so much better getting out there like I did with a movie like The Fablemans, which was my own story, where I could actually go into a deep communion with my younger self to figure out how to tell that story in a way. Because that film I made, I've often said that film was $40 million of therapy that DreamWorks paid for, but something like that was exactly the example I'm giving. I'd show up in the morning and I would just say, I know the camera needs to be here, but don't ask me why I know the camera needs to be here, it just does. So there's something about when you're flying by the seat of your pants. Our best friend is our intuition. That's our best friend on any movie. Any filmmaker should tell you that your instincts, your intuition is your best friend. And if you listen to it, if you let it carry you through the day, it's a lot better than intellectualizing and thinking something through too thoroughly.
You know, you were asked some years ago what the key single theme of your work is, and you said communication, which I thought was a really interesting answer. I'm wondering how you communicate, because you just described this process of something dawning on you and following your intuition, but on a film set, there are dozens, sometimes hundreds of people. You've got those millions of dollars from Amblin and DreamWorks to think about. How do you talk to people? How do you get them to get what you want?
Well, I don't do it by explaining why I want it. Because then you sit around in a circle, and I don't know why I want things. I just said the intuition is often my best friend, and I listen to the whispers more than I listen to the loud voice of the brain. The whispers of the intuition speak stronger to me than my brain, which is always trying to take over and get me to listen to it. It's a fight between this and that often. And so when I'm racing around and I put the camera somewhere and I know what the blocking needs to be, I just need the cast to trust me. So if I say, this is where I think you should stand, and I think this is why you should go, when you should go to the door. Later I'll tell them why, but I gotta get it out of me first. So I'll do a whole blocking with second team. The actors are still in hair and makeup, and I'm blocking the entire shot with second team. So when the actors come out, having worked with me before, or having known my process, they'll know to kind of stand where I'm kind of asking them to move and when to move and why the camera's moving with them. And then later, as we're lighting it, I'll sit down and say, okay, here's why I want you to do something that you probably weren't preparing for when you were memorizing your lines the night before. But this is why I think it needs to be this way. And every once in a while, an actor will come out, more than every once in a while, and they'll say, but I just feel, here's why I think I need to sit here for at least these 5 lines without getting up. And they'll convince me that they're right, and they'll get to be able to do it their way. But I need to be able to do the first pass of the blocking. Because blocking is so important on movies and television shows. And if you want to watch great blocking, just go back and look at anything that Elia Kazan ever directed. Go back and look at Mike Nichols, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and The Graduate. Look at that blocking. Look at the blocking of Casablanca. Look at basically Michael Curtiz, the way he blocked the camera. And watch TCM. Ladies and gentlemen, watch TCM. Because you're gonna see storytelling the way I wish everybody would be telling their stories in these modern times. Some of the best stories were told a long time ago. There are great stories still being told today, by far, like Sinners and One Battle After the Other. I mean, my God, you know, so many films are from Hamlet, Clojel. But I really, you need, I always say to film students, you know, yes, learn from your peers, learn from your heroes today, but don't forget to learn from my heroes, our heroes that taught me my stuff. And all of my heroes made movies in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Related question, because